Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing a watch launched as you see it here in 2015. It is the latest in a long line of mid-sized Patek Philippe Nautilus models. This is the 7118/1A-010. So in stainless steel, mid-size means 35.2 millimeters measured diagonally. It's more if you measure the winglets across the case. It is 8.9 millimeters thick. Lug to lug, the case is 38.5 millimeters, but if we include the end links, the total rigid distance across the wrist is 43.6 millimeters. Now I'll put the watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see why I don't describe it as a ladies' watch. It's a mid-size in the tradition of the 3800 and the 5800. It wears beautifully on a 16 centimeter circumference wrist. I could recommend it for a wrist as small as 13 centimeters circumference, and you can see it is super flat, easily sliding underneath a cuff. The watch has a wonderful integrated bracelet. It was designed that way in 1976 as the original 3700, penned by legendary designer Gerald Genta, and we still have that full integration of case, lug, and bracelet with a pronounced taper down the links. You can see the finish is as fine as the case itself, with a polished bevel down the shoulders that continues the bevel of the case. Satin primary links with polished intermediates. You can see they too taper down to a narrower dimension. We have satin finish when viewed in profile, and you can see that this bracelet is fixed using pins and sleeves. So if you want to size at home, you'll have many sizable links, but you'll use a block and a punch rather than a screwdriver. Now we have a double folding clasp. It's a little bit different than what you find on larger Nautilus models, as we have a twin trigger release internally rather than a clamshell lock. You can see it's alternately satinated and polished, even internally, and then it has the Patek Philippe logo, the Calatrava cross, visible when you join the two sides. The Nautilus case has always been more complex, both in its assembly and in its finishing, compared to the Aquanaut, which is one of the reasons any given Nautilus costs more than any given Aquanaut. Now you can see it's a three-part case with a case back, a mid-case, and then a bezel. The watch does not feature a screw-down crown. It features a press-down crown and a 60-meter water resistance rating. The Nautilus features a rounded polygon for its bezel, but unlike Gerald Genta's 1972 Royal Oak, which has a round dial, crystal, and inner bezel, the outer bezel, the inner bezel, the crystal, and the dial all have that same rounded off polygonal form, and you can see the complexity of the finishing with lots of satination and polish for contrast. The dial features a lateral set of striations, but unlike a conventional Nautilus, which features them purely horizontal and straight as an arrow, here they have an undulating wave-like pattern, as the Nautilus, of course, is a watch whose namesake is a cephalopod, or a sea creature. We have applied and darkened white gold indices, darkened hands at center, darkened Arabic numeral 12. There are dimples outboard of the hours to allow you to read the seconds as well as the minutes individually. Now the watch, you can see my force of habit there trying to screw out the crown. The watch does feature a caliber 324 that has no hacking function, but it takes only the slightest amount of back pressure to stall the seconds hand and stop it wherever you want it, so you can synchronize to a reference time. Call it a hacking hack. Now the watch includes a quick set date, so you can rapidly cycle the date if the watch runs down or encounters an irregular length month. And in the reverse side, you can actually see caliber 324 is a better match for the size of the case on the mid-size than it is on a full-size 5711. So it's a unidirectional automatic winder with ceramic rotor bearings. It has a 45-hour power reserve, a 4 hertz beat rate. It's adjusted in 6 positions. It pivots on 29 jewels. It's got a Gyromax-style free-sprung balance with an anti-magnetic silicone hairspring. And of course it has the quick set. You can see that there's mirrored anglage on the edge of the bridges. Likely this is started mechanically but finished by hand with a buffing tool. And then we have abrasive wheel Côte de Genève, not the stamped kind. We have engine turning on the base plate. We have black polished screws with chamfered slots and chamfered circumference. We have satination on the wheels. of the train, and then we have solarization on the barrel. We have engine turning on the reduction wheel and the click adjacent to the rotor, and if you look carefully, there's micro engine turning on the center of the rotor, which features circular Côte de Genève otherwise. You can see that the locating pegs for the balance cock, the three of them surrounding that fixing screw, they help to align that bridge perfectly, but they're actually polished on their tip, another signature of attention to detail in fine finishing. So this movement is nicely decorated, and because it features the Patek seal, the Gyromax free-sprung balance, the silicone hairspring, and the 6-position adjustment, it is guaranteed to run no worse than -3 + 2 seconds per 24 hours as delivered from the factory. You can also see that the dial is well loomed, and this watch is easy to read in the dark. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.